Hi and welcome to sallyhughesbeauty.com. I haven't made any videos in a little while because I should explain our director Nat has had his first baby, and which is totally lovely for him, but it means he's a bit less available at the moment while he's going through the newborn stage, and we haven't made enough videos. So I've got loads I want to tell you, so I apologise for the poor quality video, but I couldn't wait for Nat. So I'm just going to do it on my laptop because there's a few really important things I want to show you. So the reason I wanted to do a video is that I posted on Instagram a new Yves Saint Laurent product yesterday, and loads of people were asking what it was and to show you what it does and so on. So I wanted to show you that. But before I get to the product I posted, there are two products coming out from Yves Saint Laurent at the same time. So the first one is this. So it is called Touche Éclat Blur Primer. So it's another product in the Touche Éclat stable, but it's a primer which is not something they've done before within that category. So I don't know if you can see, but it's sparkly. It's got loads of kind of gold flecks in it. So the idea, like everything in Touche Éclat, is that it's radiant and it brings light to the face and so on. I have a funny relationship with Touche Éclat. I don't really love classic Touche Éclat pen, but I love Touche Éclat foundation. So I wasn't really sure what to make of this, but I tried it this morning on my face. When you put it on and you feel the texture initially, it's so silicone-y. It's like really, really heavy silicone, or at least it feels like that. And I wasn't sure about it at all. When I put it on my face as a primer, again, I wasn't sure about the texture. I felt it was thick. I felt, it had that really sort of very silicone-y feel to it, and I thought, I'm not going to like this. This is going to be a disaster. I'm going to put my foundation on and it's all going to peel off. I'm not into it at all. When I put it on, once I had got it in and blended it in and kind of got used to the texture, I actually really, really liked the way it looked. It doesn't have as much illumination, kind of sort of particles and so on, as something like Dior Glow Maximizer, which is my favourite primer, and this is still my favourite primer, I have to say. So it doesn't have as much gleam as that, but what it does have is like a real grip to it, but it's an unusual grip, because when I put my foundation on afterwards, and the foundation I put on was this, the new Nars one, which is all day luminous weightless foundation. I'll come back to that in a sec. But when I put it on over the top, I found that unlike most primers, which kind of stay there very still and then you put your foundation on, I felt that the new YSL primer was moving with the foundation, in that it was almost sort of, yeah, it was like a movable base. It wasn't kind of stuck fast like a normal primer, which I thought was quite interesting. And it's the kind of thing you think that would do your head in, but actually it created a really, really smooth base. It didn't cause any hassles at all. It was just kind of unusual. And then when I put my foundation on over the top, which was this, it went on beautifully. It was quite tacky and sticky, and it felt like it was going to be wrong, but actually once I had applied it, it looked great. It looked awesome. And which that brings me on to the foundation. So this is the new Nars foundation. All the release dates for these things are going to be underneath the video, by the way. I'm going to have a look as soon as I've finished and we'll list them underneath. So this foundation, Nars has brought out a fusion foundation. So what I mean by that is think Armani Maestro, YSL Fusion Ink. It's another one of those foundations that is made up of silicone and water that you need to give a really big shake. However, the difference for me is that I find those foundations, those other fusion foundations, unless your skin has plenty of oil in it, I find they can be a little bit flat. I generally prefer a foundation with more glow. This one totally brings it. So when you put it on your hand, it looks really flat and matte, but then when it goes on the face, it is absolutely lovely and glowy. It's what I'm wearing right now. The colour I'm wearing is medium 2 Santa Fe, very weird for me to be wearing a foundation that's medium because I'm so pale, but actually I find it suits me down to the ground. It has that thing that Armani Fusion ink has, where it's sort of very, very thin and watery and you think you're not going to get much coverage out of it. But au contraire, you get really good coverage out of it. And what I've been really impressed by is how well it layers. So I've been layering it. When I put it on this morning over the Touche Éclat primer, you put one coat on and you get good coverage, I would say light to medium. But then I always put it on with my fingers, then buff it with a MAC Duo fibre. But then, once you have a layer on, it literally takes seconds for it to set, and then you can whack another layer on. And I actually found that when I patted it on my melasma, which is obviously my darkest, most uneven skin tone area, that just patting it, waiting a few seconds, then patting it again, totally covered my melasma like a concealer. Like brilliant, really, really good coverage and really good glow. I am going to put myself out there and say that this new Nars one is the best fusion foundation that has come out on the market yet. It is properly good. They have ironed out the problems with fusions in that it's got plenty of glow. You can use it on dry skins and it doesn't feel too dry. It doesn't feel too silicone-y. The colours are great, but it layers so well. I'm completely impressed. Like the coverage is awesome, and it's literally all I'm wearing on my skin is that and Clarins concealer, Clarins Instant Concealer. Everyone knows I love that. I don't need to bang on about that anymore. But the next thing I want to show you is the thing I Instagrammed, which is a proper game changer. So I love face powder. Lots of people don't, and I completely get it. They think it looks too ashy, too flat, too dusty, and so on. This is a replacement for powder. Look pretty, so much pretty. So this is Blur Perfector. So this comes out alongside the primer I've just shown you, but it's a balm. It's a pink balm. Don't be frightened of the pink. Don't fear the pink. I know I'm quite anti-pink, but don't fear it in this case because it's so translucent. So what it is, it's another silicone. It's a silicone balm. I generally have had quite mixed experience with silicone balms. I quite often find them too kind of flat. They make your face look a bit too chalky and white. This does not do that. And what it does is it replaces face powder for people who don't want face powder. So if you like that kind of glowy, dewy finish and you just want to mattify certain areas, I've deliberately not put some on so that you can see me put it on. You get the sponge, you dab or stroke in the Blur Perfector, and then you press it into the skin exactly as you would a face powder. But it's talkless, powderless, and it's so, because it's a balm, you can just dab it exactly where you want it and you don't see the joins. You don't feel like you have to then mattify your cheeks if you want kind of glowing, dewy cheeks. You can just do that and you're matte, you're done. The fact that it's pink may be off-putting to you, and I have to admit I haven't tried it on a woman of colour yet, and I absolutely will. I've only had it 24 hours, so I haven't got round to doing that. I'm very curious to see how it looks on a woman of colour. My instinct is that it will look fine because I am super, super against pink on my complexion normally, and I can't spot that it looks pinky with this on. So I have high hopes. I'll be interested to see if they bring out maybe a browner one for women with darker skin, but at the moment I'm quietly confident that this will work on darker skins. So again, I've just put it there. If you prefer, you could take a foundation brush or a duo fibre brush and you could put it on that way, and I still think it's fine. But I like the sponge. It's like a little velour puff actually rather than a sponge, and just press it in. I am so into it, so into it. It is the first time I have ever thought, yes, I could do a full face and go to a party and not use face powder and I'd be perfectly happy. Because it doesn't just mattify, it blurs out lines, it fills in a little bit, being silicone, it kind of fills in fine lines and whatnot. It's a proper multitasking, game-changing product. I'm so into it. There is a silicone powder at MAC actually that I've recommended to people before. It's another powder alternative, same sort of thing, a silicone balm. But this I prefer. I feel like this delivers more on the kind of blurring and the soft focus sort of look. So same job, but I think it's moved the game on a little bit. Two incredibly quick things, well, three incredibly quick things I'm going to mention. The first one is Guerlain Terracotta Natural Healthy Glow Powder Duo. If you loved Les Beige by Chanel, but felt it didn't quite go light enough for you, this I'm really into. It's called Claire. It's #1 shade, and it's very similar to Les Beige. It gives you great glow. Also a brilliant pale girls bronzer for when you're not in summer months and you want that kind of bronze contour glow and definition, but without actually looking suntanned. This is your baby. So good, really pretty little compact as well. I love that. Also, I haven't worn powder blusher in months. I've literally only been wearing cream blusher. I'm having a really kind of non-powder phase. This has changed my mind. This is Clinique's Defining Nudes Sculptionary Cheek Contouring Palette. I think I mentioned it in my column the other day because I'm so into it. It just goes on so brilliantly. Swirl all the three colours together, which I'm not normally a fan of in a product, but in this case I do. And it just gives such a nice glow to the cheeks. I'm really into it. It doesn't have, it has shimmer but not glitter. It's powder but it's not chalky. I'm really into it, so I wanted to mention that. And very finally, I wanted to mention Lom Brightening Cream. I normally avoid any brightening skincare. First of all, I'm white as a sheet. Secondly, they're really sort of targeted at Eastern Asian markets, so very often they're not widely available retail here, so I don't really review them. They're just not my bag generally, but this is really good. If you have normal to dry skin, especially if it's a little bit dehydrated, my instinct is that you will love this product, especially if you feel like you're lacking glow and you want a bit of kind of pizzazz back in your complexion. I am so into it, and I'm somebody who really doesn't use Eve Lom very much at all. It's been a real shock to me, so I thought I should mention it. So yes, sorry for the quality of the video, but I'm so excited about these products. I just thought, screw it, I'll do a crap quality video rather than do nothing, because I really wanted to talk about them. Thank you very much for watching. Details below for release dates, prices and so on. I'll make sure I do that before we upload the video. And thank you very much for watching. Bye!